Good day, everybody. This is Etienne Marcel Pertut, and welcome to another edition of Fighting Peaches. We'll be joined momentarily by Georgia State baseball head coach Brad Stromdahl as the team prepares for its in-state rivalry weekend matchup against Georgia Southern in Sun Belt play. And as always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, the sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also head to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook, and follow us under Etienne Marcel Petute or the Sports Inquirer. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify, and more. So as I said, in a few moments, we'll be joined by Georgia State baseball head coach Brad Stromdahl as the team prepares to host Georgia Southern. Team coming off with a tough loss against Mercer last night, off of a game-winning home run by the Bears. After a big comeback in the top of the ninth inning. We're going to touch on that as well as the team's preparations for the Eagles. So in a few moments, we'll be joined by Brad. Until then, just sit back and we'll be back momentarily. All right, we're here with Georgia State baseball head coach Brad Stromdahl in a unique setting. This is a surprise to us. Brad, just before we get to the on-the-field stuff, where are you at? And go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm at my son's elementary school over in DeKalb County, and we just we were having career day, and so we decided that we wanted to just kind of hang out with you a little bit and kind of show the kids what we do every day and how we go about our business with our daily lives. So I think it's a cool little representation of how we are as people, as coaches, as teachers, and it's a cool little setting. So thanks for letting us on.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. So we'll keep out the bad words. No, we don't do that anyway. But thanks for speaking to me, especially after yesterday's loss to Mercer. We were following it. Big comeback in the ninth inning, even took the lead, but ended up losing on the last pitch of the contest. How has the team rebounded for that, and what's that like as a manager, helping the team have a quick turnaround as you prepare for this big matchup this weekend?
No, it was a tough loss for sure. We didn't play very well for the first 8 innings, but we rebounded. We scored 6 runs in the top of the ninth inning, and really unbelievably put ourselves in a position to win. And I think that's what you want as a coach, is to be able to have an ability to be able to put your team in a position to win. Have those guys come in and be able to say, you know what, we didn't play very well, but we were able to put some guys on base. We hit a big home run in the top of the ninth with Caleb Freeman, and then we had a double right after that. We had a couple walks. We had some energy, and even though we lost, it's a really, really tough way to lose for sure. But it puts us in a position to be able to put us in a really better way to I guess win this weekend, because you have. You don't play very good in the first, I guess, 8 innings. And so if you take that into the weekend with Georgia Southern, it doesn't really kind of have any emotion, or we doesn't breed anything that's like competitive. But then you basically score 6 or 7 runs, and you kind of feel that energy again. And so we put ourselves in a better way going into the weekend. It's not a good way to lose for sure, but we're ready. I think that we're pretty angry that we lost, and hopefully we're going to use some of that good energy to go this weekend.
Yeah, a highlight I thought was, Jake Embry started off giving up the 3 runs in the first inning, but really settled in and allowed only 1 more run, and pitched more than 6 innings for you. And you also had Ryan come in, give you 1.5 innings or more than 1.1 innings of shutout in relief. Was that a positive sign, just seeing the pitching kind of solidify itself? I know the end, that ninth inning wasn't the best, but those guys seem to have found themselves, and maybe that can carry out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that Jake's has really done a good job, and I think he's done a good enough job to put himself back on the weekend. And he gave us 7 1/3, or I don't exactly know what it was, but he really, really pitched well as a freshman. I was really excited for him. And then Crooms came in and finished up the 8th inning, and then we just threw one bad pitch, and they hit a good pitch, and that's part of life, and that's part of baseball. And I put Ryan Lamar back out there any day in the 9th inning, and I'm just really excited for those guys and how they can move into the weekends moving forward.
Yeah, and McGinnis has had a big big midweek for you. You had, I think, 5 stolen bases against Alabama State. Just what about? We've talked about this a little bit through the season. The home runs is obviously a big tool for you. You think you lead the conference in home runs, lead in slugging percentage, but getting those stolen bases and using that part of the game, how do you think that's gonna really help you translate for the rest of the year when not relying maybe so much on the home run?
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes you more than one dimensional. And I think that that's how you win in the conference. We have such a tough conference with Texas States and Lafayette and Southern Miss. And, Old Dominion beat us 2 out of 3 this last weekend up in Norfolk. But, I think that being able to do different things and the ability to pitch, to hit, to steal some bases, play some good defense, I think that, you have to be 2 to 3 dimensional to place in the top 3 or 4 in this conference. And to go to a regional and play in the postseason. So I'm excited with where we're going and how we're how we're approaching some of the base running and improving every single game, every week. We're doing different things, and the McGinnis brothers have been really good and kind of a solid anchor for us. And Jesse Donahoe, he's been struggling a little bit here the last couple of weeks. But he's just kind of steady, and he had a really good game last night. And hopefully, again, we can keep that energy moving forward into Georgia Southern.
Yeah, and now you do face Georgia Southern. I see the kids in the background. I love it. This is such a unique atmosphere for us. It's awesome. And if they want, if they have a question, we can maybe get them on. But no, it's all good. But no, facing Georgia Southern now, coming up this weekend, a team that Sean Smith's second in conference in batting average. Jacob Phillips, I guess, an arm that they kind of use as a starter slash reliever. He was pitcher of the week. So it seems like they're coming into some solid form as well. What about Georgia Southern? I mean, I know you probably recruited half those guys and probably seen them, just through your connections with the state. What's this weekend like facing the Eagles? And more importantly, you're trying to stay in the top half of the conference standings, so it's a really crucial matchup for you.
No, absolutely. So we're second place in the conference right now, and Georgia
Hmm.
Southern is a really good team. Everything that they've done, from hosting a regional a couple of years ago to what they are today. I think they're 3-3 in conference, but it's a tough place to open up. They opened at Coastal, it got swept there, then they swept App State this last weekend, and so I think that what Rodney does, he does such a good job with his teams. They play good defense. They put the ball in play. Our job is to put up big innings and to prevent them from having big innings. But overall, I mean, I think that it's an in-state rivalry and it's fun, and I think that there's really no conversation needed with how important it is to play Georgia Southern at home, and what that means to us, what that means to Atlanta, and what that means to kind of our furthering down in the conference. Third weekend is kind of the moving point within the conference, where teams that are 500, it kind of solidifies itself. And as you go, we're entering 4-2, Southern's 3-3. If whichever team goes 2-3 or 2-1. You put yourself in a position to win at the end of the year. So, I think that every weekend's big, but I think that always playing Georgia Southern is a bigger weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just what about that dynamic of being in the state? Well, you faced Mercer yesterday. You get Georgia Southern now. You do cross paths with the other Division I schools, which I believe is Georgia and Georgia Tech. I think that's all that I'm thinking of now.
Yep.
But yeah, what about that dynamic? Just being in the state, and I'm serious. You probably have recruited half those guys, or probably seen them through your process of getting players and everything like that. But what's that like being in that dynamic
No, it's
of
fun. I mean,
this Georgia baseball atmosphere
yeah, no, I mean,
collegiately?
it's everybody knows each other. I mean, everybody plays on the same travel ball teams, organizations. They've played each other since they were 12, 13, 14 years old. So, we have a good rapport with all those kids. And, what ultimately comes down to it is that, the compete against your friends, you compete against the other teams, the compete to be the in-state team that wins the most games. Like, we beat everybody last year, every team in the state. We beat, and so we want to try to do that again this year. And so knowing kids, knowing the coaches, knowing the staffs, knowing the players, knowing having the players, intermingling with each other and their buddies. They went to high school together, and all of the things that go along with that. It's just a really fun. It's a fun, competitive weekend, and baseball's fun. I mean, it's an enjoyable atmosphere, and you don't ever want to not be a part of it, and you don't want it to not be fun. And so, I think that knowing people and knowing the ramifications of you beat your in-state rival or you didn't hold water for the next 12 months until you play them again.
Yeah, and you're probably going to see him in a conference tournament. That's always how it seems to be with just the round robins and all of that. So I'm sure this won't be the last time you see the Eagles. But lastly, what is this like? I mean, with the kids, and I see the faculty in the background as well. Just promoting. Obviously, you're there for your child. You said, but just what about being part of the community? I mean, they're in DeKalb. That's where your baseball facility is.
Yep.
Just what about just being the Panthers and Georgia State in general, athletics, entrenching itself in the community?
Yeah, I think it's vitally important. I mean, continuing to just be able to be within the community, be one-on-one with kids, and we do it kind of all the way through the season with community service. We have homeless outreach programs, we have food shelters, we have reading programs, we have Trees Atlanta. We do so many different things to not only immerse our players within the community and kind of give them some of the lessons that they need to give back. They're very fortunate with a lot of the things that they have been given in their life, and to be able to give back is really important, but it's also important to be able to outreach and just kind of like show that we're normal people, and everything is fun, and baseball is fun, and just to kind of like connect. And I think that there's nothing more important than that. And obviously Georgia State's the biggest institution in the state. We have upwards of 60,000 students right now, and so being able to be the flagship school in terms of population, I think it's really important to be able to present that as an option for, furthering college and creating, a voice for education, and just being a part of society. And so it's really fun to be able to be present here today, and all of the other things that we do throughout the year.
Any future Panthers out there? Sorry, do some little recruiting, or just trying to get them involved.
Panther. Yep, they're all Panthers.
Hey, I love it. I love it. All right, Brad. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks to the faculty as well for allowing you to let us have you on. I know you want to get back to teaching and giving the knowledge out there. Really appreciate the time, Brad, and good luck this weekend. We'll be keeping track of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Brad Stromdahl, head coach of Georgia State baseball. Unique atmosphere. Didn't know the kids would be there, but I love it. I love that they are engaging with the Georgia State and the community, as we talked about in that presser. If you're listening to this and not watching it, Brad is doing his career day at his child's elementary school. Or middle school, they look like elementary, and he just brought us on with the children in the background. They're listening to the interview as well. Really cool to have that experience. So if you weren't able to see it and you're listening to it on our platforms, make sure you go and check it out on YouTube and Spotify. I should have a video up, but definitely YouTube. You head on there and see the video of this, what we did with Brad. But thank you once again for listening and watching this latest edition of Fighting Peaches. And as always, you can head to the mothership, the sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also head to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look us up, Etienne Marcel Purtout of the Sports Inquirer. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio video hosts, which include the aforementioned YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.